You are listening to Your League Tennis Podcast with your host, Anthony Radonia. Anthony's an avid weekend warrior tennis player, just like you. Every week, he'll be interviewing new and exciting guests that will not only differ in experience and skill level, but also in age and physical ability. Your League Tennis Podcast is about making you a better tennis player. Whether you're a beginner or have been playing for years, in your 20s or in your 60s. Now, here is your host, Anthony Radonia.
All right. Can you hear me good?
Oh, yeah, I hear you great.
Cool. Well, there's the start of the second show, Adam. What do you think?
I dig it. It's pretty cool. I watched the whole first episode. A lot of notes getting taken, so I'm excited.
Oh, me or you took notes
I
off the show?
I took notes.
Oh, you learned something?
Yeah, I learned some things from Scott. Yep.
Sure. Oh, well, that's true, from Scott. Yeah. Scott had some good stuff. So what we'll do is we'll go into the rapid fire so people know who you are, right?
Sure.
But again, I just wanted the quick intro. You know, I hope people really get stuff out of it, like hopefully you did. This is about improving the recreational tennis player. So me and you, like, this has become sort of our life in a weird way, right?
It is.
We dedicate way too much time to tennis now.
I don't know if there's too much.
Yeah, that's true. There's not too much. But we dedicate a lot of time.
We do.
Yeah, talking about it, playing, watching.
Texting
about it, totally. Yeah, my wife's, who are you texting? No, just Adam. But let's start with this first. So let's do that rapid fire question so people know who you are,
Sure.
Okay? So tell us a little about your rating first.
So right now, 5.0.
You're 5.0 USTA rated.
Yeah, USTA 5.0. UTR, I don't know. Like, it's been up and down.
Yeah.
As high as 9.2. Right now, it's like an 8.4-ish.
Which is, we can get into that later because I want to keep this in the rapid question part, but UTR is a little weird.
It is weird.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, and there's some things that I think I've seen that are interesting about it.
Yeah, totally. And then how long you been playing?
Let's see, 44 or 30-some years.
That's right. And how old are you? You're 44.
44. You're coming up on 44, yeah.
You're 43 right now?
Yep.
And you playing for 30 years?
Yeah, so, well, maybe I started when I was like 8, 9, all the time playing. Before that, it would be little lessons here and there, but not super serious. But I was playing ping pong with my dad before that. But
interesting.
So it was kind of the intro into tennis. So
like in the backyard, you guys had a
we had a ping pong table in the basement, and pretty much every night after dinner, that was it. I mean, we're talking the 80s. There weren't like video games everywhere.
Yeah,
right?
You didn't have your cell phone.
No, I didn't even
have
Instagram. I didn't even have the Atari 2600 or whatever it was, right? So no, after dinner we go down to the basement, play ping pong for a couple of hours.
Yeah. Me and my bro had a ping pong table too.
Yeah.
We put it in the backyard, like under this porch. Oh man, we had some good battles. I want to say we used like that old wooden sandpaper paddle.
Oh yeah.
That's what that was the paddle back then.
Like that's the one I broke, right?
Yeah.
I didn't smash the good like padded ones.
Yeah.
It was the sandpaper one.
Okay, so then did you play junior tournaments growing up at all?
I did, yeah. I started in the 10 and unders. Is kind of the first time I, ventured into that. It was, we did at the time it was unranked tournaments, and then there was district tournaments. I grew up in Pennsylvania, so the competition was a little bit different there. And then you get into districts and then finally sectionals. I did the unranked tournaments probably the first year, and then we, went into the DR. So pretty much all of Western PA, I became very familiar with. So between Pittsburgh, West Virginia, all the way up through Erie, that was kind of the stomping ground.
What does that mean, the unranked tournaments, though? Like anyone can join?
Yeah, so it was like the layer below the district. You weren't getting a ranking coming out of it. So, So I did that for about a year and then moved up into the district ranking tournaments. So.
And did you play tennis in high school?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Was it a decent amount of players in high school? Or
so my dad was the high school tennis coach. He had built quite literally a dynasty there, undefeated seasons. I don't know how many years in a row, and we were doing 20 to 25 matches a year.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it was pretty intense. He always got players to the state championships and a lot of players. We're from a small town, 7,000 to 10,000 people, and he's gotten a lot of players to college level tennis. So it was cool because like he had built this entire community around tennis.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was neat. I mean, you're growing up in the snow, and we're getting on buses on Saturday morning to go, the 30 minutes to go practice for 4 hours indoors, and that was a Saturday, and it was pretty cool.
And
So,
your parents are still alive?
oh yeah, yeah,
Oh,
they were just out visiting last week.
that's
So,
right. You said your dad was staying with you.
yep, he still plays.
He still played. That was my next
Yeah,
question.
yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
that's cool.
I'm trying to, work him back into
Yeah.
going to the tournaments we go to,
Yeah.
because I think that would be really cool to see him on the next court playing a match.
Oh, to see him play.
He's in the 70s, we're in the 40s, 45s.
Is that how old he is? He's
Mhm.
70 something?
70 something, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
And those tournaments get big in Palm Springs, 60s, 70s. What the draws were bigger than ours.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And it's interesting though. I mean, you've seen it. The guys in our group, we're all very like friendly with each other.
Yeah.
What I've witnessed is you get into those older groups, it gets really competitive.
It does.
It's like the 12 and under boys again.
Yeah.
Like you're cheating me.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's awesome. And they probably all know each other,
Oh, they do. Yeah.
all the retirees. That's so cool. And then you ended up playing college.
Yep.
Okay. And where was that?
Edinburgh University in Pennsylvania.
In Pennsylvania.
Yeah, state school. So Division two, did it all 4 years, had a great time, great team. We played some of the best teams in the country. We would do the Hilton Head spring break, which was awesome. That was kind of the whole incentive. I mean, you get to go as a team for, your entire spring break, and we were just playing matches the whole time. It was awesome. So,
And you guys had to stay local or you get to travel?
oh, we traveled. Yeah.
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 Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. We were driving everywhere. There was no
Yeah.
flights. I mean, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
That reminds me of because I went to Cal Poly for the 4-year college, and I went to a junior college my first 2 years. But during the 4-year college, we would play. I want to say the name of the college was Hawaii Pacific,
Mhm.
but we never were able to fly to Hawaii. Hawaii Pacific always flew to us.
Right.
So I was like, come on, let's play in Hawaii. But anyways, we would always play Hawaii Pacific in Pomona.
Right.
Not fun. So, and then if I remember correctly, you met your wife in college.
No, we've known each other longer than that.
Longer than
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And she played tennis too.
Yeah, we got our women's team was running short on some women in college, so she had transferred in. She'd played volleyball at another school in Pittsburgh. She transferred in, and then I took the summer and I taught her how to play. And she was, I think by the end of her first year, she was playing number 1 dubs and number 6 singles, but she was still playing. So and she had a pretty decent record. Kind of the coolest story of that is my sister, who's an exceptional player. They ended up playing each other a couple times in college, which was
cool.
which was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
And she doesn't play anymore.
She wants to.
Yeah.
We've got a little one, 4-year-old, so yeah, it's tough still. But probably within the next year, I can see we, kind of
Yeah.
get this flames going.
And your middle daughter is not playing, or is she?
She wants to. Yeah, no,
Okay.
no. I got her going to camp this summer, so an immersive camp. She's into gymnastics, real big and real heavy, so it's kind of tough to,
Yeah.
that's a full-time thing. So
And your older boy, obviously, I hit with him. He's amazing.
yeah,
What year is he again?
he's in 8th grade.
8th grade.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's taller than us both? Or not yet?
Well, not you. Maybe me. No,
No, he's pretty tall.
I think he's about 5'6" right now.
Oh, is he 5'6"?
He's got-
Okay.
I
I
got
felt he
t-
was
I-
taller than that.
I got 2 inches on him. I got about 25, 30 pounds on him still. Too,
Yeah,
so-
okay.
and I got that crazy old man strength.
Yeah. And then, okay, so like we did with Scott too, I mean, we have life outside of tennis,
Yeah.
obviously. Okay,
Yeah.
we're mid-40s guys.
Yeah.
So what are you doing outside of tennis? What are you doing for work? I know, obviously, but tell me a little about it.
So started a consulting business 9 years ago now, and started consulting mostly in the federal government, specifically like the IT space. So we do really well with that. We're constantly moving and doing new things in that space. It's cybersecurity, fun stuff like that. And then, so that's my like main job is running that business, taking care of my clients. The other thing I do, as you know, I'm still a Marine. I joined the Marine Corps right out of college. So here I am at 23 years in the Marine Corps. So my reserve time is I get to go to Germany and work there for a month at a time.
Yeah, so cool.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'm going to ride that one out until they say, okay, thanks for your service. It's time for you to go. So,
okay. So they'll tell you to go or you'll
yeah,
go?
no, there's a service limit.
There's sort of a limit. Okay.
Yeah, they're like, you're too old and slow.
But you still have, we talk about, you still have your physical tests to do.
Oh yeah, no, it's kind of why this whole tennis thing that we did last year kind of made a lot of sense, because I hate working out like for no reason.
Yeah.
Other than like a test, right?
Yeah.
So
you have to cut weight like a boxer before the match, right before the test.
Yeah, I got to do pull-ups somehow, but I get it done. So
what is it? Pull-ups, push-ups, running?
So they changed it. It's a 3-mile run. Usually I can do that in about 20, 22 minutes, 21, 30-ish for our age. I feel pretty solid with
good.
That. 20 pull-ups.
20 pull-ups.
Yeah,
okay.
and then a plank for, I think it used to be crunches. They just went to a plank this year, and I think it's 3 minutes and 40 seconds. So
really? That sounds long.
It was 420, and I did that.
Did you really? Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think I could do that.
It's interesting because it's different than my first 22 years where it was crunches. So it's way easier for me to do the plank. So
yeah,
I don't mind it.
Oh, that's good. So, something before we get into some other stuff, my plan was always to give each guest a gift. So I didn't tell you about this.
Okay.
After last podcast, I forgot that I had Scott's gift. The gift was I gave him a Roger Federer card and a Nadal card, not very expensive. But so I went through my tennis cards, and we were talking about this prior to starting the podcast, and I thought, what's a good gift for Adam? So I found this. So check this out. This is the gift to you. Marty Fish, our boy.
Oh, yeah.
Marty Fish. So it's a 2005 card. It's not very expensive, right? It's Marty Fish. Yeah. But it's this little, at the time they were calling them jersey cards. So technically it's a shirt he wore during a tournament. I really don't know how they do all this. Like after the match, do they take it off him and cut it? I don't know. But it's called a patch card. It's a 2005 Marty Fish card, and I put it in that little case. So it's a magnetic case. You can technically take it out later. So there's your gift. Just wanted to say.
Dude, that's cool.
There you go.
Because
thank you.
This is part of our journey too, right? Watching this.
And that's why I thought it was so cool. And I think it was a good segue into like, let's start the conversation with, we talk about that Breaking Point. I think it's called Breaking Point documentary on Netflix a lot with Marty Fish. And we love it because it's sort of that person who, what was it? Like sort of, I don't know if he gave up on tennis or just wasn't succeeding. What happened before his whole transformation?
What I gathered, right? He was brought into the Roddick's home to be basically his hitting partner.
That's right.
And he got really good along the way, but never realized his full potential. And that movie, that documentary, is about him saying, you know what? I want to give this a real go and see how far I can go.
Yeah.
I think it's a fascinating story. I think it's kind of indicative of what we've seen since, where like these players are getting pushed. There's an expectation by all of us that are watching, and that's kind of what that story is about, is like that expectation and how that weighs on the player.
Yeah, what's funny is the more times I watch it, the more stuff I get out of it, obviously. And I was surprised the last time I watched it, which was probably a few weeks ago, how he kept saying, like, you're not supposed to show emotion. You're not supposed to feel stressed, or you're not supposed to whatever, right? And so, man, I just felt bad, like, when I was listening to him, because you can see that that's what ultimately sort of made him, have that great anxiety at the end that made him retire, which was just, he was expected to bottle everything in.
Right.
And finally, his wife, which was like this awesome point in the documentary, his wife was like, you don't have to play today. It was against Federer in the U.S. Open. Mm-hmm. And then he withdrew, and he finally realized, like, I can show emotion. I could talk about this stuff. So it was pretty cool. But we also love it because he was number one in the U.S. when he turned 30, I think it was.
Right.
And obviously, we're older than that. We have 1/1,000,000th the ability of Marty Fish, but it still inspires us.
Oh, yeah.
Because me and you still think, one day someone can write a documentary about us if we win an open tournament
Right.
or something.
Right.
So we still have hope.
There's still hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's just a little harder now.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot harder.
But no, I love that movie. I mean, I think the guy, because if you remember, I just looked at what it said there. He was born in 1981, right? So
81. Oh, wow.
So being born a few years before that, right? I don't know, part of growing up was, hey, don't show emotion, right? There was the Johnny Mac side of things, but that wasn't, like, there was also the Bjorn Borg side, right? And being the guy that was out there, that was in control of his emotions, that managed everything on the court, to include all those things coming in from off the court, right? And so that was kind of you kind of had a way to go when you were a kid.
Yeah.
It was either, am I going the Johnny Mac or the Bjorn Borg way, right?
Which is so awesome why Laver Cup is so cool too.
Right.
Because them as the captains.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. And so, but going back to what I was saying is, I don't know about you, but I'm not getting past the first round a lot in singles. We'll talk a lot about doubles, but I still love singles, I think, more. But my dream, my Marty Fish dream, is to just win one tournament.
Right.
I don't know. What's yours? Have you thought about that stuff, or you just want to keep healthy and play?
Wow.
Putting you on the spot. Or
No. I mean, look, I think that the first, being in Southern California, like, this is a brutal section, right? Like, the players are going to show up every tournament. It doesn't matter if it's a level 5 or 6.
Yeah.
They're showing up even in the 40 plus. So we got on the road last year. We did pretty well. I think my dream of, what I would consider an exceptional year is you and I getting a doubles title at a, not at either a level 2 or a level 1. Level 1, I think we were almost there last year. We had a good run. We're close.
Yeah.
We're knocking on the door. So to me, that's a great year.
See, let's talk a little about that, because before you really started finding out where all the tournaments are, the levels, all this stuff, I really wasn't that aware of the age group tournaments.
Sure.
Right? So I knew men's open. I knew all the kids tournaments because I used to play them.
Right.
But I was so surprised to see how there's age groups: women's, men's 30s, women's, men's 35. Is 30s the lowest, or do they do 25s?
No, I've only seen 30s.
30s.
Yeah.
And there's obviously that huge one in La Jolla. We played the men's 40 national level 1, where you get the golden ball if you win.
Right.
And so we started playing those last year.
Yeah.
And was our first tournament we played in Dubs Atlanta, or did we play one prior to that?
No, we played Palm Springs.
Play Palm Springs too.
Yeah, because that's
right.
April. It was postponed because of COVID. We played that in April. Then we went down to Atlanta.
That's right. So before we get into the tournaments we played, so tell us a little about the age group tournaments, like the level of people you're playing.
Sure. Yeah. So, look, we got to talk about where this was born, right? So, we were playing, you and I were both playing 4.5. I think in 2019, our team made it to a national championship. We went to Surprise, Arizona as a team, as a 4.5
for the league.
team for the league.
That's right.
Right. So we had gotten through sectionals. We were there. We were competing, and I think that one was a 18 plus.
That's
if
right.
I remember right. So we get there, and we come out of that, and we were all competitive, but we as a team, I think we kept dropping our matches like by one match. Right. It was super close. And we got back home, and all of a sudden, half the team is bumped to 5-0. And that there's not a lot in the 5-0 space where you're playing against guys that are our age, right?
Yeah, you're right, because it was an 18-plus league. That's right.
Right.
So there was a lot of younger kids, younger to us,
yes,
that are 5-0.
Right.
College guys who just got out of college maybe 2-3 years ago.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've played some of those 5-0 leagues. These guys are like fresh out of school,
Yeah.
huge serves, big returns, and here we are, weekend warriors,
Yeah.
trying to compete. And so it was like, okay, I need to get in shape. How do we do this? I know I got to go to the tournament route because the leagues just aren't enough, and they're not worth working for. So it was, I sat down in January. I put the schedule together for the whole year. I pitched it to you.
That's right.
It
You
was
put together a good schedule.
It was a sales pitch, is what it was, and I sold you, right? And I think after the one in Palm Desert, you quit drinking. Like it was like all on. You quit having the drinks every now and then.
Mhm.
Dropped a whole bunch of weight. I dropped a whole bunch of weight, and we were just in, and it gave us something to work for. So,
Which is what I was going to say. It was nice to have a goal, like even if it was sort of just a fun goal to go, but it was definitely something to work for.
right.
Yeah.
So then we get out there, right? I think we go to, like I said, we go to Palm Desert, the first tournament. So it's really in our backyard. It's an hour and a half away, tops. And we get there, and it's just such a cool vibe,
Yeah.
right? The age division tournaments are totally different than the NTRP, what level you are tournaments. There's in all the tournaments that we played, I think we played 6 last year, 6 or 7. There's only been one guy that we've like said, okay, that guy, I don't want to play him because he makes bad calls.
Yeah.
Everybody else is giving you calls.
Yeah.
Everybody else it's very friendly. Everybody wants to have a beer after the match and hang out and
Yep.
talk. They don't want enemies. So it's a different thing, because I found like that league, there's like, even in league tennis, there's like that friction between you and your opponent, right?
Mhm.
Or even your team and their team. When you get into the age division tournaments, I swear by them, that just doesn't exist. Everybody's trying to
Yeah.
be a buddy at the end.
Yeah. And how cool the tournament directors really try to make it like an inviting place, like we saw at La Jolla. Oh man, that was, first of all, the venue was amazing, but they just put on such a special tournament there. Like the food at night, I don't remember if you showed up. You did, that's right.
It was ridiculous.
Oh my gosh, I was having that was like a Vegas buffet.
Yeah.
They were giving to everyone.
Yeah. Look, the guys, the men and women that ran that tournament, the Kellogg's, Duncan, all
Yeah.
of them, the hospitality is so top shelf
Yeah.
there that it doesn't matter if it's that tournament or another tournament. I want to play there.
Yeah.
Just because the hospitality is so high class and so
Yeah.
top shelf. And then because of that, like they're drawing all the best players from all over the country,
Yeah.
So yeah.
And they had backdraws too, right?
Full
Dubs
backdraws.
and singles,
Yeah.
which was so cool. What do you think so we know the USTA rating, you're a 5-0. What do you think the level is when you're playing these men's 40s tournaments in singles? Like, are they 5-0s, 4-5s? Are they better than that?
I think if you catch a 4-5 in the first round at our age group, I think if you catch a 4-5 in the first round, you're lucky. You're lucky, because that's kind of, I think almost everybody there is a 5-0.
Yeah.
And then you've got your couple anomalies who are at the very top, that top
Yeah,
crest
just amazing.
that were former pros that are at the 5-5 level still.
It's something I didn't get too much into with Scott, but I think this is my opinion, my perspective, but I think at the lower level, a 3-0 and 3-5 might be a little similar. The 5-0 and the 4-5 USTA rated person, what do you, like, let's say if you played 100 matches against 4-5s, this is my guess, and you correct me if I'm wrong, you would win the majority of those. But then there's some 4-5s that don't play enough to get that 5-0 rating that are probably really 5-0s.
Yes.
Right? And we're probably going to lose to a couple 4-5s too if you played 100 matches, right?
Yep.
But most of the time, the USTA rating's pretty good. Do you feel?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, you're probably right. Out of 100 times, I'm going to say 95 times. It's just like the 5-5 playing a 5-0.
Yeah. We know a 5-5 is,
Right.
Uh-oh. Well,
It's
I
gonna be
guess
fun.
tomorrow's going to be free. We're not playing tomorrow.
Or like I can swing for the fences, right? Like
It's true.
that's kind of the cool part is now get my shot tolerance up and take my shots when I get them because I know that I'm not
Yeah.
going to get many,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah. And then how about style? Like when you're playing these singles, and we'll talk about dubs in a little bit, but what kind of style are these guys you're playing in the men's 40? Is it more like keep the ball in play? Is there a lot of aggressiveness?
I think that that's kind of the cool thing about the 40s. I think there's a lot of guys that are just smart, like especially right, like you got to be smart. You can't waste a lot of energy because
That's
look,
true.
you can't. I mean, we've seen it, right? The grinders that stay out there for 3 hours for 3 sets. I mean, you might have been guilty of that once or
Yeah.
twice, but your body pays for that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't just pay that night and the next morning, but that your body pays for it for a week or a month, right?
Yeah.
So I think that what I'm observing is guys that play way smarter. They're way more efficient. They're way more thoughtful about when they're going to take a swing, how they take a swing, and when they're going to actually run a drop shot down.
Yeah.
Right? They're not going to blow out a knee on a drop shot.
Yeah. Something that we talked about last night, because we hit for about 45 minutes last night, and we were talking about that. Maybe not calling it efficiency, but we were talking about swinging with your arm versus swinging with your shoulders and torso and getting a
Sure.
good turn. I mean, talk about that a little, because for me and you, it's not eye-opening because I guess we know it, but to think about it and then attempt it, it works really well to start incorporating your shoulder turn while you're hitting a forehand, your torso turn, and you're not just using all arm.
Sure.
And the reason I brought that up now is because you're talking about getting tired, being efficient. And I feel that when you're just swinging for the fences all arm, you're going to get tired,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, talk a little about that.
Yeah, no, I mean we talked about it last night, but I think a good, I personally don't, other than working out with you, I don't think about technique a ton, right? But I do know when things are working well, and I know that when everything feels very, very relaxed and very compact, that things are gonna that I'm not, like you're talking about. It's more about hip turn. It's about shoulder rotation. It's about, if you're going to serve, it's about the toss in the right place versus, putting it too far back and having to use a lot of shoulder and back
Yeah.
muscle to get it going. So, but from hitting the tens of thousands of balls we hit that, when you finally find that groove, it almost feels effortless.
You're right.
Going back to La Jolla, right? We played 6 days in a row. I started out so not rusty, but it felt very bad and I had to work a lot in the first match. By the end of the 6th day, everything was just so compact and so tight. It was so efficient that it just became easy.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what you're, in my mind, that's what I'm always shooting for, that feeling of ease when I'm playing.
Yeah, and we talked about this, but last week I got to go to Ojai with my family to watch a little. And I ended up seeing some amazing tennis, men's and women's opens, some juniors, CIFs, and then the Pac-12, USC versus Utah in the final. That was ridiculous. Amazing, those kids. I say kids, but we're all old. But I was talking to you about the men's open because I got to watch the winner, Carousel, if I'm pronouncing his name right, former Bruin. I think his Instagram page says he was top 400 in the world, so
Wow.
amazing player. Got to see him in the semis and in the finals. And what you said about being compact was so noticeable to me. And I've never really noticed it, I guess, because, you're watching tennis like this, right? Head back and forth, just watching the ball almost. So that finals, I had good seat sort of lined up on the baseline in the stands, and I got to just stare at each player hit.
Right.
And I was like, okay, don't look at the ball. Just look what they're doing, their preparation, their footwork. And this guy, Carousel, was so amazing. but I couldn't believe how compact his strokes were, how simple.
Right.
And I guess they ultimately had to be because the other guy was serving some fast serves, right?
Sure.
So there's no time for huge back swings and huge arm swings.
Right.
Everything was simple and compact. He met everything out in front. Obviously, timing's an issue and, hand-eye coordination. But I felt like he just had such a nice shoulder and torso turn with almost no arm swing involved. And his ball was coming back just as hard as the servers.
Right.
Right? He was sort of blocking it, but still with his beautiful motion and follow through. So I don't want to say it was just a block. He wasn't just sticking his hand out, right?
Right.
Blocking it. But he had that perfect torso and shoulder turn, and it just turned everything into like this beautiful, easy motion. He never looked tired.
Sure.
And I'm sure he is, but
Yeah.
never did.
Well, but he's using a lot less energy, right? It's not, you look at, we were talking about Murray last night. Murray uses a lot of hip turn to generate power. You could look at Baghdadis. I look at the shorter guys, right? Because I'm a shorter guy. So who else?
Schwartzman?
Yeah. My personal hero, right? But if you watch their hips, they're generating a lot of power from their lower body, and it's pretty effortless on top.
Yeah.
And kind of what you're talking there, it started making me thinking about like the cadence you have, right? Because it's a lot more about timing and the dance of getting to the ball properly, right? It's not a rigid. It's almost like it's got more of a flow to it. It's a dance move, and so I know that when I'm playing well and not having to think about it, I don't think about any of that stuff, right? I'm thinking about what my opponent's weakness is and how I'm going to get there, because I know that's all getting taken care of, and that's usually hitting thousands of balls in preparation. But that's when it works.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's try to focus on some dubs.
Okay.
Because obviously we played together, and I even put it on my bio on the podcast that we were ranked number 1 for a short time. I don't think we are anymore.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't looked.
But the little caveat is the more you travel, the more points you get. So obviously a lot better players than us just don't travel, but we got more points, so we were ranked.
Right.
We were ranked higher. But still, I'm pretty happy about it.
That
we accomplished
you
a pretty
didn't need
huge
to
goal.
say any of that.
I know, but just so everyone understands,
you
right?
definitely didn't need to say that.
But yeah, we did pretty good in the men's 40 division for doubles, right? Traveled, played some tournaments, got some points, got up there in the men's 40 national ranking.
So to caveat it on the other side of that, right? Like there's a whole bunch of second places there, and even some tournament wins over guys that were ranked ahead of us.
That's right. Yeah.
And after we had lost to them earlier in the season,
to
come back and we beat them. So yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I sort of mean too, is like we were traveling, win some, lose some. It wasn't like we were going out and winning all these tournaments, but we were gaining points by going.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but it's still an accomplishment. I'm just trying to make sure everyone doesn't think we're patting ourselves on the back too much. But because we played so much dubs, we still do. We still hope to play more.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk a little dub strategy, because I'm hoping the person listening is probably, a 3-5, a 4-0, something like that. And like Scott said, a lot of league tennis is doubles.
Sure.
Right? Even in our 5-0 league, like, I have to play singles or you have to play singles, and there's not a lot of people stepping up wanting to play singles.
Right.
Because it's a totally different game. We're old. We don't want to deal with the pains and all that stuff, right? The next day. So let's talk a little dubs. So let's start out with this, right? First of all, how important is it for that person at the net? So I'm serving, you're the person at the net. How important is it for that person at the net to call signs and to tell me where to hit and where you're going to be?
Oh, I feel like this is a therapy session. No, that's everything, right? Yeah. I think that when I grew up, and I played a lot of doubles growing up, and I kind of considered that that's my happy place, right? Doubles is my happy place. I feel at ease and at peace playing doubles because it's fun. Like, you're going to catch me with a smile on my face playing dubs. So I think when it comes down to it, I had learned that just kick high to the backhand of your receiver. If we're in the serving formation, and then you go, right? Like
The net person goes.
You give the sign and you go, right? I think what we discovered along the way was once you get to a certain level, that very basic strategy doesn't cut it.
Mm-hmm.
You create way too many angles. And I think you guys talked about this a little bit last week, right? So you, as the net guy making the call, it takes so much pressure off my shoulders. Now I'm not thinking about, I just think, okay, I got to hit the serve where I'm supposed to hit the serve, and then I do what I'm supposed to do, right? And you are either, either you're staying, you're doing a big fakie or whatever it is, but I don't have to think, and it takes something off my shoulders.
Okay, what you're saying actually is huge because you're right. Sometimes I think people think the opposite. If the net person's calling a serve sign, serve wide, serve middle, serve tee, or whatever,
yeah,
it's going to make the server nervous. And it's actually not. It's actually taking a lot of burden off their shoulders, a lot of stress off, because now you know the net person knows where your ball's going, and the net person then has a job to do after that serve goes in.
absolutely.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, so I felt this was a good topic to stay on for a little, because I'm even talking with my wife about this. I don't know if sometimes the lower levels think, oh, maybe we're not good enough for signs, and that's not true at all. Like you have to actually hopefully try to be on the same brainwave as your partner.
Right.
You got to know where they're serving, because that's going to help you figure out where to step, for your volley.
Right.
Right. So let's talk about that a little more. Like, I think something me and you started, I don't want to say perfecting, but we started getting better at La Jolla tournament was that serve to the body and that net person taking one small step towards the middle.
Absolutely.
Okay. So tell me a little about that. Why is that effective?
Yeah. So I think what we were doing prior to that, it actually changed before La Jolla. We actually started, we had lost to the two Chris's.
That's right.
And great players. They're from Orange County, fantastic doubles pair. I think they both played at, UC Irvine or something. Great players. Anyhow, great doubles team too. The second time we played them, you and I went out there and we changed. I think we dropped the first set, and that second time we played them, after we lost to them, not badly the first time. I think it was like 3-2, so 3 breaks a serve. But we were like, okay, let's change this up. We can't go down the same way we did last time. We're not going to drop. Let's not drop this set the way we lost the first set. And so I think you called it, and you're like, hey, just serve body, right? Like nothing else. Just serve body. We'll take that step, and then we'll, because how the return's coming back now. We've created a seam that the ball can only come back at a certain angle, right? Mm-hmm. And when we were doing stuff before, the angle was much wider. When we were kicking way out to the backhand or whatever, the angle was too wide. So I think it was that set in that match where we figured out, hey, this is kind of our magic thing that we need to continue doing, because we just took away like 3/4 of the shots that they could have hit by doing this one simple thing, which was the body jammer and the one step by the net guy towards the middle. It's tough to hit a passing shot down the line. If they're going to have it, they're going to have it, right?
Yeah, and if we go even more specific on this, let's say we have a right-hander returner, right? And I'm a right-hand server. I'm serving. If we call out wide serve on the do side, okay, that means you, the net person, have to think a little about the line, right? I know me and Scott talked about last time, give him the line, but let's be real, you still got to think about it. You got to cover it. You're also giving that returner a nice angle cross court.
Yeah.
Okay. And so it really opens up the court so much, meaning there's too much court for me to cover the server. So when we started serving body, you started playing a little more over to the tee. I did too when I was the volleyer. And now if we can get that perfect serve, which we were trying for, that slice into the right-hander's body backhand, jam them. it's almost impossible for them to pass the net person up the line,
Yes.
right?
Right.
Because the physics of it, or whatever, maybe it's not physics. Is it physics?
Sure, we'll call it physics.
Let's call it physics. The physics of that line is you're going to see it coming. It's going to come this way on you, right? So you're going to be there. Almost impossible for them to pass you up the line.
Right.
Okay. Now they have to somehow go inside out with that backhand to get it back at the server.
Right.
And so that you're right. That was something that me and you were just taking advantage of. I feel like a lot of teams do, obviously. But you took one simple step towards the center after I served, and then I did that when you served. And it felt like we could cover so much ground.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think what happened before is it was probably like a 70-30. You go out, you slice it outside on the deuce side, or you kick it high to their backhand on the ad side. I have to cover that line.
Have to.
I have to make sure that and especially at the 5-0 level, 5-0 plus, right? That they're going to take the shot. And probably 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, they're going to hit that shot. So that's probably like 30% me. And then after you just got finished serving, now you've got 70% to cover by yourself. So yeah, I think going to the body kind of even that out to like a 50-50 share after the serve.
Yeah. And the percentages say it's probably their worst shot, backhand versus forehand, if we're talking about the righty on the deuce side.
Right.
And you're jamming them.
Yeah.
So remember, they have to come inside out, I guess you would call it, right? To go back to the serving side.
Yep.
And as you know, which is why I put you on the deuce side, because I feel better on the ad side, but that's probably the hardest shot in dubs.
Yes.
Is that serve to if you're returning on the deuce side, that serve to your backhand or that body shot to your backhand. The hardest shot in dubs is probably the return.
That return. Specifically. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's why I just chip it over the net man now, because that's the safest play. That's all I'm doing. Right. But if I'm a 3-0, 3-5, 4-0, I'm doing that play over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Right. That's it. And then my net man, if I'm a server, my net man is going at least 50% of the time.
Yeah.
Because it's just then it gets in the receiver's head, right?
And the reason the chip lob is so effective too is because the other team's thinking the same thing. Their net person is on top of the net. Mm-hmm. Their net person is cutting towards the middle. The server might be coming forward, right? Or maybe they're staying back. You don't know. It's probably not a poach, so they're not switching. So that little chip lob that you're talking about is so effective because you don't have to hit it that deep if the person's standing on top of the net.
Right.
Yeah. And then now they're probably switching. The server has to, cross the court.
Right.
Yeah. Really, really effective strategy. Does it work then on the ad side? I mean, let's say we have a right-hander on the ad side. Where should the server be serving against on the ad side?
So like when you're serving, I mean, your serve is awesome. So you're getting.
I'm very aware.
Somehow you get it to their backhand side and it's got slice on it.
Yeah.
So it's coming into their body. I feel like when I get out to their backhand side, it's almost more like an American twist that's bouncing out like into their body that way, but they still have to hit a backhand, right?
Yeah.
So it depends on which one it is, but you're going to get two different responses, right?
Yeah.
But for some reason, like with your serve, they almost always try to pull back cross court, which makes it easy for me to just take that giant step and have the put away volley.
Yeah. And, thinking about your giant step thing you were talking about, the other night, I think I was talking about this with Scott, but I watch Federer all the time on YouTube. And then I started I want to start watching some other things too. So last night I was actually watching some Martina Hingis doubles. And I started recognizing what a monster she is in doubles.
She's ridiculous.
Man, she's intense. And I was like, wow, number one in the world in singles and doubles at the same time.
Right.
Amazing.
And I think she had like a 42-something streak. She had some crazy streak.
And she won her first doubles major when she was 15, I think.
Ridiculous.
And her singles in 16, I think. What do you think about intensity? How important is that in doubles versus singles, I guess?
I think that's an interesting one because it kind of depends on the match. It depends on your partner. Um, there's so many pieces that go into that, right? There's times when we go out and it's goof off, have fun, and still destroy our opponents, right?
But how about what I mean by intensity is when I was talking about Hingis, she was never not moving. And what I think what I'm trying to ask is how important is it for you to seem like a monster at the net and that the opponents don't know what that net person's doing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No. So that's a good point. Okay, so understanding the question better.
Yeah.
No, so when the ball's on your strings or on your side of the court, I'm moving intentionally. And it may be so that they see me moving, not for position advantage or anything like that. But sometimes that just explosion move will get an unforced error out of the other side, or it'll cause them to think, "Oh, I can't hit that shot." Right. So sometimes it's especially if there's a lob and they go to your back, you got to recover it with a backhand, and they've kind of pushed forward. Most of the times, a doubles pair would stay back and just like start all over. I look at that because I know what you're going to do because we've figured that one out too, right? You go down the middle for a roller. Because I know you're going to do that, though, I can take off and go to the net with two other players on the other side of the court at the net.
Yeah.
I know what you're going to do, and I know that you're going to roll it to their feet, and I'm going to get the pop up, which is exciting for me. So I take off ultra fast to get there because I know what's going to happen.
Which is why, as we were playing more, I think we started throwing poaches in early just to make the other team aware that we have the ability to do it.
Sure.
Not that we can do it all the time, but I think just putting that in their mind, because thinking about it from our perspective, if I see that net person not moving, right, feet in cement, it takes a lot of pressure off you as the returner.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The first I'd say the first game we're moving almost every point.
Yeah.
On our first service game.
Yeah.
I think we're probably at least at 75%. 3 out of the 4 points we're going, right?
Yeah.
And it's just to get in their head to say, yeah, these guys aren't static.
And it affects us equally also, because how many times have we screamed out in the air, "You were watching the net guy"? Like, I've missed many returns where I've watched the net guy take a fake step to the center,
right,
and I've missed it,
right,
and I've yelled out, like, "Why are you watching the net guy?" Because to myself,
right.
You meaning me,
right,
and so it definitely is effective,
right.
That net person moving, and even that's why I think fakes are so effective too. Like, I think maybe in the beginning we used to just call more go or stay, but I think incorporating a lot of fakes, even if just a slight shoulder move or maybe one step and then step back to your position, it's very effective because at least now the returner's watching you.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you mix that with the fact that almost no matter what, we're taking a step towards the middle, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of movement, and I think that's the key, right? So if there are 3540 listeners, right, that's the key in doubles is a lot of movement, knowing what your partner's going to do because you play with them enough, hitting the ball down the middle and closing the net are kind of just the keys, the basic keys to winning, right?
And it all starts with signs, knowing what each other's doing.
Yeah,
is huge. You know what's funny about that? I'm saying signs are the best. I'm just thought of. I was listening to Mike Bryan, obviously Mike and Bob Bryan, on this ATP podcast I was listening to a couple weeks ago, and Mike Bryan literally said that they a lot of times weren't doing signs, and I thought, what? And then I started thinking about, okay, wait, they're twins,
right?
Yeah,
they've been doing.
They've been
for
playing
25
since,
years.
Yeah. Like I remember them in juniors because I grew up in Southern Cal. They're my age. They were amazing as young kids, playing doubles as young kids.
Right.
Me and you just started playing doubles last year.
Right.
So it's a little different. And they probably even know what each other's thinking.
We'll get there. We'll get our gold ball at some point.
Yeah.
It might be the men's 65s, but we'll get there.
Let's see here. Thinking about that pressure in doubles, talk a little about how important it is to get in that first serve then, because I think that's additional pressure on the returner, or maybe in a different way, they feel a lot less pressure when the second serve's coming.
Right.
Yeah.
I think you do a better job of this. I think I miss way more first serves than you do. You get a lot in. So we get a lot of free points. I feel like on my serve, my percentages, and I'm 2 inches shorter at least than you, so that plays into it. But I'm probably, I don't know, 60% on first serves. You're probably in the 80% first serves
In doubles.
in dubs.
See, in doubles, I think about it. I bet you my first serve percentage in singles is less than 50, to be honest. It
Yeah.
has to be.
Maybe we'll have to.
I'll
use
have to
the
look,
swing
but I
vision.
bet you it is.
We'll have to swing vision.
Yeah, what's
Right.
swing vision?
But I think if you kind of look at the numbers on the games and how many points it takes to get through a service game, I think you're getting through in fewer points because you are landing first serves. That's what I think. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
Plus, I got good hands, so
Yeah, it's true. Well, that's why it's pressure off me,
right.
So I can take a little off it. I don't have to swing for the fences on my first serve
Right.
and hope to power them to win the point.
Well, even then, that's a great point, right? Like, so if I hit, and we can both pop them, right? We can get up in the 110s,
Very rarely.
but we can, right? And if you pull those out, the ball's coming back way too fast in dubs. I can't get to the service line by the time it comes back. So it's not really behooving you to hit 100, your big serve, your big flatty
Yeah.
in dubs. It's better to spin it in and
Yeah, a good slice.
yeah,
Good kick.
slice. Yep.
I think I told you, but I was talking about this with our friend Tom, but when I was watching my swing vision, my first serves were going in like at 80 miles per hour.
It can't be right.
I don't know.
No, it can't be right.
It's
Now,
probably right.
Yeah, I know, but like Tom's, I think came up at like what 45, and that's probably pretty accurate.
That one's accurate. Man, but this has already been going. This is 52 minutes. I don't want to stop this, but
how many more questions you got there?
no. Well, I wanted to switch gears a little just because it's coming up to the hour. Because you recently had a calf explosion. What do you call it?
A calf tear.
Calf tear.
Yeah.
Okay, so how the heck did that happen? What did you do for recovery? And I know you're going to have to work in your amino acid drink because you love that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So last year, I was hitting my wife was an early adopter to the Peloton, right? So I can get on there. I enjoy it. It's competitive. There's a leaderboard, so it was easy for me to do it. So I started with that in January. The day I put the schedule together for us, I think right around January 5th or 6th, I hit that hard. And I was doing it every day. And everything was getting very, very tight, like muscular wise on my lower body.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went out in March and we were playing at your courts, and it was quite literally, I just leaned forward a little bit and I felt the tear. And I was like, this is crazy. I was able to get into my ortho, got a shot that day within hours. I said, hey, doc, I got a tournament in 3 weeks. Can I play 22 days from now? And he goes, probably not. Probably not a good idea. Took it easy all the way up to the tournament time. But it wasn't a full tear because that's when they actually have to go in and do surgery. But it was a good chunk. I mean, it was like
I remember you had an indentation
it was
in
like
your calf.
It looked like a baseball had been smashed into it and left a dent.
Yeah.
Right. So it hurt like crazy. But I think the treatment that I went through and the medical attention I got really quickly kind of made it less bad. So, I mean, I played competitively, won a round out in Palm Desert. We took second in that tournament in dubs, and that's a level 2. So I didn't feel shame from any of that. It did hurt though. And I think, as we get older, I think that's kind of been one of the things. Last year, your knee, I felt like I may have like done a little meniscus tear on my other knee. That's, I think making sure that, you're doing all the stretching, all the warming up, that stuff. I know I never did it, right? So
Are you doing it now? For real? Tell us the
for
truth.
real, lightly. Yeah.
Stretching?
Yeah, a little bit here and there.
But like
Not
5 minutes before the match starts, or are you doing it at home?
I get down on the floor probably once a day.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay, good.
yeah. Because I mean, I got tight hip. I'm feeling it in my hip flexors now. Especially after the calves, I'm doing a lot of stretches on the calves.
Yeah.
Just because I don't want to feel that, right? That it's too easy to get injured now. That especially when you start when you're playing at these levels, it's just like you're asking your body to do things that are really difficult to do day in, day out.
Yeah.
So you gotta definitely take care of it. We started, you and I both did it last year. We started eating better. We started taking care of
I
ourselves.
stopped doing that, by the way.
Yeah, well, so did I, but that was last year. We're on to this year now.
Yeah.
But managing our weight, right? Because it's really easy to say, "Oh, look at all those carbs. I'll eat all those things,"
Yeah.
right? So, yeah. I mean, watching what you eat. I put in a gallon a day, plus I do the electrolyte drinks.
Of water.
Yeah.
Gallon of water.
So
Not
about
ice cream.
no,
Okay.
no. We both started doing it. The salt tabs or
Yeah.
the salt additives to your drink prior to a match. I think you're doing saunas, right? Saunas and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Scott was swearing by that last week.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like when you're asking your body to do these things, you've got to do the things in preparation so your body can be there for you when you need it.
Well, I'm definitely not stretching enough.
Yeah.
But like when you said, I think there's a direct correlation, but like you said, between your calf tear and your tightness and you're not stretching.
Yeah.
And so that's obviously with me. My back's hurting all the time. I don't know why I'm not stretching. I should.
Right.
It's like just wake up in the morning and do it.
Yeah.
So it's a huge thing that I should be doing. I got to get on it. You know what cracked me up about? I just wrote a note about this because I'm watching some tennis last night at the Madrid Open. Right? Is that what it's playing right now? Yeah. Veronika Kudermetova.
Yeah, the beer.
Yeah. Did you see that?
Yeah.
That was cracking me up. So she went on and said, I didn't quite understand if she was saying first time she's ever tried beer in her life or if this is the first time she ever had a beer after tennis. But either way, it was just a funny story. She's 26 years old. Awesome. And I don't know if she played today. Did she? Or is she playing right now? But either way, like we don't have to talk about that. I just thought it was a nice, funny thing. But what are you doing after the match? Like,
so that's the electrolyte drink. That's
okay.
So I drink it during, but on days where I work out, right? Especially if I'm playing tennis, I know that I need a gallon and a half throughout the day. And if we go play, I know I need to get half a gallon after we play. Otherwise, I'm going to have a massive headache the next day.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So it's part of my recovery. So I know that. During tournaments, I know that I'm putting salts in beforehand, even though they're the most horrible thing ever.
Yeah.
I hate them, but I know that by doing that, I'm not going to cramp during. Because I'm like that guy that's got the, a blue hat on and it's completely white with salts and it's all over my face. So I didn't know this before, right? This last year is when I picked up on these like little tips, but making sure the salts are in there so that as you're sweating them out, you're not depleting everything you have.
Yeah. Yeah. You got me on those bouillon cubes.
Yes.
Those were very life-changing, I felt. I don't know why I'm not using them anymore.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's my issue. I'm like, I'll try something and it works, and then I want to try something else to see if it works better.
Yeah, right.
But,
No, the bouillon cubes work.
Yeah, big time.
Yep.
Yeah. And I suggest you get the dried ones because I tried the ones that were sort of wet. No. Oh, those were nasty. We're coming up on an hour. Do we want to end, and this, was cracking me up is thinking about this podcast. I promised to never talk about pickleball, but Scott brought up pickleball.
Yeah.
And now here I am
yeah.
bringing up pickleball.
Yeah.
Do we want to end talking about your pickleball story?
my pickleball story. I have a pickleball story.
I thought you did.
No, I do. I do.
Yeah.
No, so I mean, I've only played 4 times, right? First time, my neighbors got a court, jumped over there. It was fun, great learning opportunity.
How was the court? Like asphalt or
No,
grass?
no. He did a it's not a deco turf, whatever it is with the little holes in it.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
I don't know what it's called,
Yeah.
but it was fun. It's
Oh,
awesome.
cool.
It bounces a little bit different. It's
Yeah.
cool. He's got his pool in the background. It's cool. So that was my first time. And then my dentist, he said, "Hey, I got a pickleball court at my house.
Really?
You're a tennis player? I'm gonna have you come over and play." Dude, it's not one pickleball court. I think he's got 3 or 4.
Wow.
So it's basically a tennis pad, and it's got the courts turned the other way. It is awesome.
Did he kick your butt?
So there were 12 guys there that day.
Really?
Yeah, and they were all like former D1 athletes.
Oh, wow.
To include my dentist, right? Like,
Yeah.
they're all phenomenal athletes. I held my own, right?
Yeah.
But it was only my second time playing, so I didn't know where to move and how to move. Third time, the base had its pickleball championships. It was the first year, so I jumped in there to represent my unit, and I ended up winning the thing.
And that was the story I wanted you to tell.
Yeah.
And what is your base? Was it Pendleton?
Yeah, yeah.
That's your base.
Camp
Okay.
Pendleton. Yep.
Oh wow, that's so cool.
And then I played the doubles tournament, and we took second. So
See, and that's what cracks me up because you're obviously a great pickleball player, and I'm just horrible, and I don't get it. That's why I still don't get that sport. Yeah.
you know what it is? It's the trick shots. It's the behind the back, between the legs, all
gotta
that.
learn
kind of
those.
stuff. Yeah, you got to learn those.
Okay.
You know, like I've been teaching too long. I'm going to hit the ball behind my back.
Yeah.
It's all trick shots.
So man, I got a pickleball tournament winner right here talking to him. Well, awesome, man. I mean, this is about the time where we sort of cut it off with Scott, but the last question I asked Scott, I think we really covered some good double strategy. I
Sure.
hope.
Yeah.
I mean, is there anything you think that's important? It can be singles or doubles that you want to leave
No, so
us with.
I think, from the notes I was taking last week, I mean, all exceptionally sound advice. I think, some of the things that I think about, though, once you get to a certain point with your game, right, your strokes and all that stuff, it's like you can tweak your strokes, right? But your focus when you go out there, and I was thinking about it from like a probably like a 4.0, 4.5 perspective, is not so much your game, right? You know what weapons you have, you know what weaknesses you have, you know how to defend your weaknesses, you know how to avoid letting somebody get to your weaknesses. So it really becomes your ability to think of it more like a chess match, right? So I know that when I go out there, the first ball I feed during warm up is directly down the middle at my opponent, right? Just to see which way they step.
Interesting.
Do they hit a forehand or they hit a backhand? What's their natural tendency from that first ball? And then from there, like the warm up, I'm using that as a tool the whole time to say, okay, what is this guy like? What is he not like? Oh, he missed 3 low volleys in warm up. Okay, guess what? He's going to get low volleys all day. Or maybe he can't handle a high volley. Who knows, right? It's different every time, but it's almost that chess match that begins as soon as you step on the court and you go out there to go to battle, right?
Yeah.
And even like, do you take a bathroom break? You just dropped a set 6-0. Do you go take a bathroom break, cool off, get some water, make sure you're good to go, and go back in? It's all kind of got to be part of your plan. And they've said it before, but like the toughest 6 inches on the court is the 6 inches between your ears. And figuring out your opponent's weakness is a skill set. And it's kind of hard when you're watching pros all the time because they're very limited in weaknesses.
Yeah.
But if you go out and watch club players, you can start to dissect them. So it's a good tool to be able to go out there, watch some club players, maybe, some tournaments, and start looking, if you're a 4.0, start looking at what would I do to that person to put them in an uncomfortable spot, and can I do that over and over and over again?
Yeah.
It's more of like the chess portion of the game.
Yeah.
So that would be my one note that I would throw in there.
But it's a huge important note, because even me, I think my game, but truthfully, my deficiency is everything you just said, I don't think about at all. I'm not watching them during the warm-up. I'm thinking about my strokes.
Yeah.
Like, get your forehand right, get your backhand right, loosen up your shoulder, and I'm not watching them. And it just makes no sense to not pay attention to what they're doing in the warm-up, because they're probably paying attention to me.
And you have a better warm-up routine than me. But I'm sitting there like, what I got is what I got, right?
Yeah.
That's as good as it gets.
Yeah.
So, do I need to junk ball this guy?
Yeah.
30 feet over the net, high school girls tennis. What is it that I need to do to win?
I getcha. Yeah, you need to sometimes.
So yeah, that's different perspective.
Yeah.
Just something I wanted to throw out there, though.
No, it was really good. Thank you, Adam. I mean, this is around the time where I want to end it anyway. So I just want to say thank you for coming to my house and doing this.
Yeah.
This is fun, and I hope everyone got something out of it like they did last time. I know they will. So I really appreciate it, Adam. And hopefully one day we'll do another podcast if we eventually win something one day.
No, we need to do it again just to start name dropping some friends.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Adam. Let me do my little outro song, and I'll turn the record off. And thank you so much, my friend.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it.